All right, we're gonna keep it rolling with the community cast. I'm gonna jump right into part two, and we'll see how far we go. So we have a 1v1 featuring Tanker, aka Gilles le Breton, the Bretonian with Gilles, and he's going against UOR, which is playing High Elf, and there's no caster for Tanker. He's decided to go super wide, bringing the extra Minos. So I don't know if this is ladder match or casual. That's the mystery of replays. I just go in blind. Okay, so we have Chaos Warhounds and Razordons. That tag team is super cost effective. Shooting at it, it's not really valuable because it's pretty cheap. And if you ignore it, it's going to debuff you with the poison and then mess you up with the Razorgon damage. The High Elves are not really wide enough to contest the flanks. So what's going to happen is Tanker is going to be able to wrap around the side here and fully envelop the High Elves and just kind of come into that shooting. This unit of Phoenix Guard is going to be really hard pressed trying to keep everything online. I think High Elves really struggle in the matchup against Beastmen unless they have units that cause terror, which can chain route things off the map. You might want to go also with a bit more higher tier infantry against Beastmen. Just my 2 cents, because I don't know. Like I think it depends. If they bring that what's it called, Brace Scream, yeah, that can punish high tier infantry for sure. But usually you can only bring one if it's tournament play, and versus everything else, the high tier infantry can do pretty well. Over here we have Tyrion getting impatient, going after the Beast Lord. I do think that's the right idea. If you are going against Beastmen, you kind of have to cut the head off the snake, and you can't really mess around with all of their chaff because there's a lot of it. And yeah, but Seaguard getting absolutely melted on the flanks. So Tyrion's definitely gotten it. Sorry, Tanker definitely getting to where he wants to be. The Phoenix Guard are going to respond to the Minotaurs. So the High player is doing what he needs to do. What he didn't do quickly enough, though, was get those Illyrian Reavers engaged. So the Illyrian Reavers probably needed to respond to these Chaos Warhounds with poison and Razordons earlier in the fight, and potentially even charge the front line to disrupt a little bit so that everything didn't all arrive at the same time, because with everything arriving at the same time, it sort of overruns the archer lines. So you are seeing some rear charges coming in here from Tanker. Beast Lord, because he's on foot, it makes it a little bit harder for Tyrion to kill him. You'll notice the attack animations are a little bit stupid when you have someone on a horse versus someone on foot. They tend to hit them, and then they go around in a little circle, and then they waste a lot of time, basically. And that means that the Beast Lord is taking very little damage, even though Tyrion has charged him a few times. Here the Sword Masters are going to try and group up with their Lore Master, who's been completely enveloped. There's a heal Desperation one coming down here on basically the last unit of Spearmen, but this has been just a massacre. A full rout, decisive victory for the Beastmen, and I think Tanker's just gonna clean this one up with the Razorgors. I mean, oof, these things hit so hard. Yeah, I'm gonna fast forward, but there's nothing left here. All that's left is, I guess, the Phoenix Guard and Tyrion. Oh, maybe I'm a little too hasty here. I have to give credit because the Lore Master can power heal Tyrion, and Tyrion is hard to kill. But if okay, so basically, if Tyrion and the Lore Master stood inside the unit of Phoenix Guard, because Tanker didn't have any shooting, it would have been really hard for him to get them out of that. Yes, he could cycle charge, and he would probably still win. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really hard matchup for High Elves to deal with Beastmen, and Tanker's a very skilled Beastman player. Like, if you watch him play, none of his units are inactive at any point in time in this battle. He's very comfortable microing like 20 units at a time. Oh, I lied, there's one, but at this point the game's over, so we're gonna cut him some slack. Hi guys, how you doing? Okay, I'm gonna end this one. We're gonna go on to the next replay. Good try, or I mean, Tyrion Lore Master, cool combo. But yeah, you just got overrun really hard. Okay, Hulkamania. I didn't catch the players there, but we got Tanker and someone versus Queekster, and something else. See how that goes. Who's a Dark Elf? I'm going to check that after the game because I was like watching Dark Elves. We're going on to Spite Reach Pass. Good stuff. Alright, firing arcs everywhere. So I'm seeing a heavy shooting army. Looks like we've got high elves again, archers, very close to spearmen. So this is something I want to comment on. I mean, these archers are so close together that if your backline gets compromised, these guys get eaten. In my opinion, you're not using the range of the high elves to the full effect. So these guys have like 180 range, which is huge. So why not spread them out? If you put one unit here and one unit here, if this unit gets attacked, right, then the other unit can shoot it at whatever is attacking it, and vice versa. But if you put them together, then if one unit gets attacked, the other unit, they can't do anything to help out. It's just, they're just both dead at the same time. So like, get some map control, spread out, and get some mobility to support your army. I mean, your high elves, you have dragons, you have fast cavalry. Spread out. Use your archer's range. Okay, rant over. Thanks for bearing with me. Triple bolt thrower. Zap zap. Plague claw. We've got rattling guns, plague monks. So stuff to clear chaff basically. Storm vermin for anything a little higher tier, but nothing, no cavalry. People don't like cavalry for some reason. There's a doom wheel for interrupts. I don't know why people don't like cavalry, and I don't know why people like to sit so close to their shooting that they can't contest the mid range. Maybe they'll push out. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Dark elves are vulnerable to shooting, so I mean, if there is a matchup to bring a lot of shooting, it's probably against the dark elves. As much as it pains me to say that. Some bolt fiends here. These guys probably want to be in a wider formation, because if they get hit by a plague claw catapult shot, that's going to erase an entire unit. Tanker here, maybe he knows that the dark shards are vulnerable, and he's trying to screen and bait out some ammo with the individual entities so the dark shards don't take it to the face. And he is keeping those chariots moving, so some really nice micro there from Tanker. But it looks like they've responded and decided to shoot at the dark shards anyway, and they're getting erased. Over here we've got Chaos Warhounds getting caught up a little bit in the screen here. There's a charge from Centaurs, Chaos Warhounds. I mean, a charge is a charge, but certainly Tanker's going to want to try and find a way around this, and he did decide to pull out. But because that's engaged here comes the Bray Shaman on the roller cart, coming in hard. Malkith got snared over here, and he's going to be shot by some archers and bolt throwers. But this princess is just chilling. I mean, I don't know. I guess she just wants to shoot. She doesn't want to fight Malkith, but she should probably be rotating over there because she needs to pin Malkith so that the other things can shoot. Now Tanker over here looks like he's been able to sneak into this backline, and this is why you shouldn't deploy everything all together, in my opinion, because if one gets compromised, they all get compromised. Over here, the Rattling Gun Weapons team that had been tied up by the Shamans earlier has decided to break. Looks like a Vile Tide has gone down to secure the deal, and yeah, here come the floodgates are open. The bolt throwers have been shut down. Here come all the troops. White Lines of Trace are going to try and react, but I didn't see the net of Amantok was cast on Malkith, right? But Malkith hadn't fully committed yet, so he took a little damage, but he can go away and heal it. Meanwhile, all of this is going to be able to flood through, so maybe he could have saved it for an overcast net of Amantok to kind of buy some time to snare the Beastmen, and then later in the fight, he could have, once Malkith had landed on the ground and really committed, or had taken maybe half of his HP damage, then dropped the net of Amantok. Over here, these dark shards are really blobbed up and taking a lot more damage than necessary. Looks like there's a cast from the Warlock Engineer, which just missed, but nice try. There is a Warlord on foot. That's not something you see very often. He's just hanging out. And Doomwheel is going to be trying to bumper car its way through the Dark Elf line. So Bounce Fire is starting to shift very slowly, but it's been a close fight. Malkith is going to get in here and smack the Lure of Light Mage, which is certainly a big relief for him to get that off the field. And the Princess is going to come over here and probably try and rescue her Light Mage. No, she's just going to breathe fire on a blob, let her Light Mage die. But yeah, the Beastmen have fully enveloped this back line. All the shooting pocket has been compromised. At this point, Skaven is about to get rear charged and smashed while being shot from the Dark Shard. So I think it's pretty much a done deal at this point. I'll fast forward a little bit in case I'm wrong and there's some magical comeback, but I think it's over now. Yeah, so I think, don't be afraid to use the princess to fight a little bit. I mean, okay, now she's fighting Malkith, but it's kind of too little too late. You want to use her for interrupts. And if you bring a big dragon, just bring heals. I mean, if you don't have heals, it's just too much value for you to just give up. You have to be able to use the dragon in combat, even if it's for a short period of time. All right, so next up, scrolling on down. So I think we just saw that. Oh no, this is Greenskins. Bear with the lag here. Sorry again. So we did running over. Kev. Did I miss one? This one says Greenskins. I must have jumped or something. Yeah, I think I jumped to Hulkamania. So I got to go back and do a few here. We got Tactical Orcs. I love Tactical Orcs. So Tanker and Robo Freckle versus Mr. Pants and Traveler. Mr. Pants. I feel like I recognize his builds. Tyrion Lore Master again, with a heavy pocket of shooting. The Sea Guard on the flanks, which will just get crumpled by most Beastmen stuff. Basically, there's not enough mobility here, and it's pretty hard to win with just archers and Sea Guard, especially if you ball them up. But I mean, if he spreads them out, maybe. And then uses monsters to kind of give points of pressure between the different units. Like when I see high elf players who are successful with these type of builds, they put like 1 unit of archers here, 1 unit of archers here, 1 unit of archers here, 1 unit of archers here. They use the max range from them to go here, and then they use the mobility to do like points of pressure on whichever unit is being targeted while the other ones shoot. Where I see high elves lose is when they try and bring these archers, they go really tight, they just get run over because they're just not good at combat. But yeah, people still like that. They feel comfortable. They feel safe. So, Sacred Croxigor, Amazon Barbs, Razordon Hunting Pack. We've got Sacred Croxigors, some spears. Basically a large blob supported by spears. And on the flanks, we got some chariot action. So I don't know if you guys know Gobble King. He's one of the streamers in the YouTube community and one of the guys who got me into the game. His signature unit was this Teeth Breakers Goblin Wolf Chariot. And so I think Tanker was running him in Gobble King's honor because he just came back and started doing some videos again. We'll see. I don't actually see it in this game, but I see the non-regimented renown version, which is pretty close. Flamespire Phoenix is coming in here taking a lot of shots, and I think it was trying to dive bomb the Doom Diver Catapult, but not having a ton of success. That's hilarious. These goblins are like trying to fly after the Flamespire. The Doom Diver Catapult is targeting the flame. I don't know if it's gonna hit. I don't think it will, but they do have some homing. But let's see, bolt throwers. They got 380 range. Doom Diver Catapult, 400 range. So Doom Diver Catapult can, in theory, outrange the bolt throwers. Right now, it's not bothering about it because it's getting some nice shots in on the Amazon Barbs. Cool looking unit. Chomp chomp. So a lot of skirmish here. We'll just be patient. We'll watch. Goblin wolf chariots take us a pot shots at the flame spire. They function a little bit like cheap versions of the dark elf cold one chariots. They have that like high missile damage, and they can just shoot large. I'm curious to see how the Scourge Runner chariots will compare. But look, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unit models. 86 damage times 6. Should be okay. I don't know. But it's not EP. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. This is a little too cautious for my tastes. Okay, Flamespire is going to come over here and tag some skirmishers and decide that it doesn't like to be there. Doomdiver still finding some targets here, shooting the Croxagores. Finally, the bolt thrower has had enough, and it decides to move up into range of the Doomdiver, and it shoots it. It shoots it good. And the Doomdiver is dying. Meanwhile, Tanker, I think this is Tanker, just judging for the playstyle, is over here skirmishing with this these Amazon barbs. They're trying to get a good shot, but there's trees, and there's a lot of units for them to shoot at. So they're having a hard time picking which one they want to use. And Goblin Big Boss is going to come in here and give them the business. This is the risk of microing just one unit at a time, right? Look at all the, I think this shows you like the difference between someone who's learning the game and someone who's like practiced, right? Because Tanker's microing 5-6 units at a time here. He's got the Goblin Big Boss, he's got all these skirmishers and other things, and this is just one unit that was shooting, and it was kind of trying to change from one target to the next. Now just the Croxagore is moving. So again, you're seeing really one unit at a time being used, whereas Tanker's really, I'm assuming this Tanker is really using his entire army cooperatively to support each other. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of units here that aren't being used, so decide what you want to do with them. And if you don't think they're helpful, then why'd you bring them? In the back, there's an Orc Shaman and Grimgor Ironhide. They're just being patient. Flamespire is going in solo. They seem really concerned with this Doomdiver for Catapult. I mean, Bolt Thrower's gone after it. Flamespire sacrificed half of its HP to go kill this Doomdiver. I mean, a Flamespire is worth 1,400, I think. A Doomdiver is worth like, I don't know, 800. Like it's not that good. And even if you take shots all game and it uses all of its ammo, it might kill one unit of archers, a unit of Sea Guard. I don't know. Like it's not the end of the world. But you just gave them a Flamespire Phoenix for what? I don't know. Like and a lot of bolt thrower ammo. You depleted half a unit of bolt thrower ammo, or half a thing of bolt thrower ammo and a Flamespire. Oh, it did get the proc though. It did get the proc. So there's that. But yeah, it's already taken a lot of damage. Leadership is pretty low, and that's HP it's not going to get back. Okay, Crockguard's coming in here. Crockguard, does he have access to heals? He does not. So I mean, it's like a really obvious thing to say, I think. But if you're playing Lizardmen and you bring Crockguard, or you bring a Feral Stega, but still, oh no, I take it back. There's heals here. I apologize. I duct tape my mouth. I make mistakes. Crockguard does have access to heals, but he has no hope of catching any of these things, I don't think. 92 speed, 75 speed. Even with the charge bonus, I don't think it should be able to catch that, and it's just going to take a lot of shots. There's a Goblin Big Boss here. There's Grimgor. There's another Goblin Big Boss. If the two Goblin Big Bosses dive Crockguard, he'll probably lose. Crockguard is a good fighter, but if he's poisoned and attacked by two Goblin Big Bosses, he'll probably lose. But this other Goblin Big Boss is not helping his friend, so in a 1v1 he'll win. Interesting stuff there. A Wug gets popped. I think it's a little bit early, and by that I mean a lot early, but they have two of them, so it's not the end of the world because it's double Greenskin. The Doomdiver Catapult's back online, so despite all of the effort that they have put into taking off that Doomdiver, it's back. I think the Bolt Thrower is probably pushing up to try and shoot it again. These archers are still out of range. I mean, why not push the archers up? Push them up. If you want, snipe the Bolt Thrower with, or snipe the Doomdiver with the archers, if that's what makes you happy. But sitting back here, you're not offering enough support to your Lizardman player. Lizardman player is getting now 2v1 by two armies, whereas the High Elf player is like, well, I still have my archers. You know, I'm good. I don't care if my ally's dying, but I'm good. But then he's going to get 2v1 at the end, and that's going to be the end of that. Balance Bar still says it's even, but I don't feel like it's even because you can see that a lot of the Lizardmen stuff is about to die. It's just isolated. Let's get your chip down. We got Grimgor in here against Sacred Croxagores. Goblin Big Boss is... yeah, he's going to get pulled into something. I don't know if he's going to go after Krokgar or the Bastiladon. I would probably just finish off the Bastiladon. Yeah, okay. Or you can finish the Sacred Croxagores. A lot of good targets over there. That's hilarious. The Doomdiver Catapult is shooting at Krokgar. I don't know if it's going to land shots. That'd be pretty impressive. I don't think that's what the Doomdivers are for, but, you know, I've been wrong before. There's some suicidal goblins just smashing in there. I think they probably hit more of their own orc troops, but it's still fun to watch them anyways. Tyrion is still just hanging out. Hanging out. High elves are pushing up, slowly but surely. But all of the orcs are mostly out of range, so they've just been able to kind of distract the high elves. Well, the real fight is going on over here. Oh, it looks like an Arc Shaman got caught out there and eaten a little bit. But he's okay. He'll be back. Did he bring Foot of Gork? He did. Foot of Gork, Brainbuster. So he just has explosion stuff to deal with infantry. He'll be great against the high elves. Not a lot of great targets for him against the Lizardmen, who went really heavy with large. Got a Night Goblin Warboss over here. He could probably take Krokgar with the support of his nasty Skulkers. Let me see. Yeah, maybe not. 320 weapon strength, but Krokgar's pretty low. These guys have AVP. You got Savage Orc Arrow Boys who could just turn and shoot Krokgar. These ones are doing it. It's the cool thing to do. Shoot them. We got Sacred Croxagores coming in here, mashing some biggins. I mean, this anti-large. These guys are large. Biggins could probably just fight them, but they've decided to go after Krokgar instead. Again, he could probably just be shot here. He's running in the middle of like about 10 missile units. But he's going to go from one to the next. I don't know what happened to the Goblin Big Boss. Goblin Big Boss could probably be escorting him around the field. Bastiladon's been chased by... been fully surrounded by the Goblin Wolf Chariots. Maybe that's just to pin him in place. It's not the end of the world, I guess. It is losing, so sure. The Chariots might even be able to pin Krokgar, honestly, if you just need a snare. But Krokgar's dead. No surprises there. And Feral Stegodon. Oh no, he's not dead. I lied. The Lore Master's healing him. No, he's not. He's just lost his rampage, that's all. Okay, Balance Bar still even. I'm surprised Krokgar lived, man. I thought he could have and should have died there. But Sacred Croxagores have been eliminated. Bastiladon Revive Crystal is off the field, so now Krokgar should not have heals unless the Lore Master pumps them into him. But the Lore Master's heals are meant for supporting infantry troops or cav. They're not meant really for individual entities because it's Earthblood. It's not what's it called? Regrowth. Thank you. Tyrion's going after Skirmish Cav. He can do that if he wants. I wonder if there's better things that could be sent after, like that Tyrion could be sent after though. I mean, you have archers. Archers can deal with Skirmish Cav if needed. But again, like look at all this infantry. It's just sitting outside of the range of the archers, and all of these guys are they're inactive. I mean, if oh boy, that's a lot of green. That's a lot of green, and it's a lot of mean. And I think they're ready to deal with the high elves now because lizards are gone. And here they come. Charges into the back line. A lot of little stuff. Taking out the bolt thrower. Bolt thrower's out of ammo though, so I don't know if that was a misclick. Some sort of spears are going to come and react to that. They could have probably dove the archer lines or spread out a little bit there. Maybe a little bit too clumped up here. But Tanker knows what's up. I think this is Tanker again. So he's gonna. Well, these guys are playing with the Goblin Wolf Riders. Chariots are gonna go in, and they're just gonna interrupt the archers. They don't need to kill the archers. They just need to stop them for shooting. for that little gap where the infantry pushes into range. And once that happens, it's already game over. Oh, big foot of Gork going down there, stomping out a unit of Lothran Seaguard. Over here, Krokar he got his man, so good on you, Krokar. You found Piggy Boy. And you showed him that you got the bigger animal. But outside of Krokar and outside of Tyrion, things are looking real rusty for... Rusty? Is that a phrase? Really sketchy for the High Elves. They're getting run over. This is like Beastmen versus High Elf all over again, except Greenskins just run them over. Spears, they just struggle against swords and axes and things like that. And Beastmen and Greenskins have access to plenty of cheap ones, so tough matchup there. All right, we got well, good games of both players. It was fun to watch. A more tactical, like patient Greenskin one there. The description was correct. All right, so this one is Did Someone Say Cav, featuring Reaver and Tanker versus Indago and Funnybone. We have Bretonnia, we have Tomb Kings, we have Empire, we have Dark Elves. We don't have a caster again, so this is something I've seen Tanker do a few times. It's a little, it can be a little bit brave, especially if you're bringing a duelist hero like Elberic. Unless that's a generic Bretonian lord and I'm confused. It could be. I'm going to check that out. Tomb Kings, I don't know what they have. We're going to find out. All right. I want to answer that lord question first and foremost. It is Elberic. It is Elberic without heals. Very brave call, but very chivalrous. So there's that. And you got a trident, so good for roasting marshmallows. Over here we have Knights of the Realm, Knights Errant, some spears, and Carrion, which can basically bog stuff down. So the woods are mostly bog stuff down areas. Sepulchral Stalkers, Knights Errant, and some scouting from the Yeoman. Good stuff. Big map, bring like Cav. You can scout things, you can use your mobility. You might as well. Yeoman. So 8 units of light cavalry. And they're going to just pepper things. They're going to be annoying. They're going to bait out resources. They're going to scout. They're going to find stuff. Hey, look, Dark Riders. Dark Riders are coming. They're fast. They can do things. Yeoman can countercharge. So, oh, he's going to go in. He's going to go in. Yeah, the Yeomen are going to get him. And the Dark Riders are going to decide not to fight it. Surprisingly, they probably could have won that. 3 units of Dark Riders against 2 units of Yeomen and some skirmishers. I mean, that was their element. Be brave, Dark Elf man. Go get them. Do you have Marathi too? I thought I saw Marathi. Like, if you have Marathi... oh no, it's a Dreadlord on foot. Okay. Any shooting? You got Shades. Shades can shoot them. Are they shooting? Yeah, they're firing. And the Dreadlord just shot a magic missile into its skirmish cav. It did absolutely nothing, so that's 100 gold. I hope you enjoyed that. I never bring that magic missile. There's Yeoman trading with Pistoliers. This is a cool fight. You don't see this often. So range 125. These guys got a range of 80. So some really nice micro there. Just keeping them out of range and screening them off with the Yeoman. So these guys are shooting. These guys, well, they do have fire while moving, but yeah, they're going to shoot into the Yeoman. I mean, probably you didn't have to commit to Yeoman. Nice rear charge coming here from the Dark Riders. Are they going to take that unit? They're going to hit the charge bonus, and pew, in they go. So a lot of light cav. Cool stuff. You don't see that often. A lot of people are not comfortable using light cav, so nice. There's 2 units of Dark Riders, 3 units of Dark Riders, 4 units of Dark Riders. A lot of Dark Riders. Over here we got Hydra and Dark Shard and Spears and stuff. They're a little bit far from everything. Empire is just really safe right now. Like, you got Dark Elf on the periphery. Empire is shooting with cannons. I think they're obstructed, no, by their greatswords. Well, maybe they're passing through. Again, same comments as I had with the High Elf game. If you ball up all your shooting in one little pocket, it might look like it's easy to defend, but it's not. It's really not. You can be crushed by vortex spells. You can be just like, if one chariot comes through here, you've got like 8 units that are inactivated, and you're just gonna lose like that. But it's okay. Live and learn. Your Shopti Great Bows are just plowing Reiksguard. So I think the Dark Elf player, he has his hands full dealing with all of this. The Empire player, I think he's a little bit static. He does have cannons, but if you think cannons are going to single-handedly win you the game, I think you're kidding yourself. So these other things have got to be doing stuff. I don't know what, but do stuff. Over here we have Shades shooting in a Knights Errant. These Knights Errant probably should be active, and there they go. They're going to fall back out of the Shade Drain. Skelly Spearmen are going to step up and screen that out. The Bleak Swords can just fight the Skelly Spearmen. So is there any high-tier infantry? There is Tomb Guard. That should be able to counteract the Bleak Swords. So a lot of Dark Elf players, they're afraid to bring the high-tier infantry because the shooting has become so strong in the current meta. I fully understand that. But if you don't have any high-tier infantry, then if people bring like 1 unit of Tomb Guard or 1 unit of Foot Squires or whatever it is, then they can kill like your whole front line. So just something to think about. One thing I found has worked well for me is if I mix in 1 unit of Sisters of Slaughter with my chaff infantry, it sort of levels the playing field. And the Sisters of Slaughter, they have high mobility. So why do I say they levels the playing field? It's because they have poison and pretty good maneuverability. So if there is a cav unit, or if there's some high tier infantry, you can mix them in with your chaff, and they're going to stay alive for a decent amount of time. They'll keep your chaff fighting longer with that poison debuff. Nice stuff here. Pistoliers charging into the mounted yeomen, and 2v1 they're able to break them off the field. Unit of Shades looks like they've been forgotten, so that's a bit unfortunate there for the Dark Elf player, because he could certainly use that Unit of Shades. They're just kind of edge camping right now. Successfully. I don't know. I'm sure he'll remember them and bring them back, but a lot going on. Certainly his micro's being taxed here. Some charge coming in here from the Bretonnians. They're going to get into some dark shards. So this is the thing. If you have a pocket, like if you split your army, right, and you have infantry, you got to think, where's your mobility going to be to support that? Yeah, he had a lot of Dark Riders, but the Dark Riders got pulled away from the infantry, which means that the infantry can get cycle charged. Or maybe the Dark Riders just died and it got shot. Probably they got baited out by this mounted yeoman archers and then killed, and then that meant that the other stuff got exposed. The Hydra can probably just eat a lot of these shots, to be honest. You can push the Hydra up and just screen against a lot of the shooting. And then keep your infantry back, your Dark Shards back, the stuff that can't heal. I guess these Dark Shards have just been abandoned. Over here, Empire is just balling up a lot, and he's just taking just tons of damage here from this Casket of Skulls. Grand Hierophant Ketchup is licking his chops here. I don't know how many kills he's at. He's at more than 14. He's at 56 kills, and that's going to go up. For people who like to count kills, wow, 59, 3 more kills. Grand Hierophant Ketchup is actually killing it back there. Meanwhile, Albrecht's doing okay, getting in some rear charges and breaking off some chaff. So Tanker being cautious here and not, overcommitting Albrecht onto really high value stuff. I have not seen what happened to the Dreadlord. Oh yeah, here he is. So sword and crossbow. Is he on the cold one? No, he's on foot. Interesting choice. You don't see that often. Personally, I think the Dreadlord with the sword and crossbow is best used on the Pegasus mount, or at the very least on the horse, because he has really short range, and if you want to get use out of him, you kind of have to make sure he's positioned in the right spot. And when he's on foot, it usually just doesn't cut it. His range is only what, 125? Just my opinion. Sepulchral Stalkers and more Sepulchral Stalkers have gotten stuck in on this front line. I don't know why they're here. There's no reason for them to engage that front line, but they are. And the Great Cannon probably could have been charged by that Tomb Scorpion, but he's decided not to. He wants to just let the Great Cannon shoot. I would be going in there with that, but that's just me. I would send the spears here. Let these guys play with the spears, and then send the other stuff here. But here comes a cav coming in the back. Okay. No, the cav doesn't want to take out the Great Cannons either. They're just going to go for a rear charge. It's not the worst thing in the world. Leadership's pretty low. It's Empire Chaff. It's probably going to break. And there's another unit here anyways. I can shut out the cannon. By the way, if you have a cannon, shoot Grand Hierophant Ketchup. I don't know how Hierophant Ketep is at full health right now, but you had two great cannons, and Ketep was in the open, so he shouldn't be full health. I guess you're shooting the Children of the Gods, but that's Tomb King leadership, and it doesn't have access to heals, so kill it. Hydra's in here. It's being a boss. I like the Hydra, but this is weird, by the way. It's a max chevron War Hydra, and it's not the ROR Hydra. So like, if you're gonna put max chevrons into your Hydra, you might as well just buy the Chill Centaur. Maybe this player didn't have access to the DLC. I don't know if it's Queen of the Crone one, so could be that he's disadvantaged because of that. But yeah, Chill Centaur would have been more cost effective, in my opinion. Alberic's over here. He could probably kill that Dreadlord if he can catch him. But there is a lot of shades here, so Tanker, I think, is being cautious here, sticking to the trees, keeping his leadership on the field. And honestly, there's no need to rush in there. I mean, these guys can screen. I mean, he's shooting mostly chaff infantry. Well, Tomb Guard's not chaff, but he's shooting Tomb Guard in the woods. They'll be okay. Alberic's going after the Hydra, I guess. Ooh, brave move. There's some sort of vortex going down here, or summon. What is that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It whiffed. It was the Celestial Will dropping an Urnanon's Thunderbolt. Alberic gonna fight Hydra. Hydra just barely drops a breath attack. I think it was a little late. These are highly chevron spearmen arms with 45 melee defense, so 47 melee defense. That's some sneaky stuff right there out of Tanker. So really hard to clear those guys off the field. And it just buys opportunities for the Cav to do stuff. Balance bar's still really even though. Still really even. Anyone's game right now. I think not having access to heals on Alberic is pretty difficult. Like if you're gonna do like a solo Lord, the Lord you want to bring is Luankur because he has heals, and you don't want to bring Alberic. Yeah. Thanks, Tanker. I try my best, man. I try my best. So anyway, Tomb Scorpion and Hydra are going to try and dance a little bit here. Hydra's fully surrounded, though. So one of the things about the Hydra you got to be careful for is leadership. And even though it has a lot of health, because it's fully surrounded, you're going to see its leadership bar is going to start to drop. And as soon as it drops, then you're not getting value out of it anymore. The other thing is, obviously, when it's fully surrounded, it's going to take a lot more damage. So tough stuff there. Witch Hunter, I don't know what he's doing. He's going to shoot stuff. Celestial Wizard's been overrun. Going to get a nice charge in here on the Swordsman. Take them off the field. We've got some Shades who are now out of ammo. They're going to go over there and I guess fight some Tomb Guard. A lot of pretty even trades over here across the board. I haven't seen a lot of decisive actions right now. The Cav is getting into the Shades, just preventing them from shooting. I do think Alberic could be chasing after that Dreadlord. I think that's his best option on the field right now. It's not the Hydra. It's not the Witch Hunter. It's the Dreadlord. And the Dreadlord is probably shooting him. I don't know. But, Balance Bars is creeping in favor of the Empire and Dark Elves, I think. But Tomb King looks pretty healthy. Is it a leadership issue? That's why. It's because Grand Hierophant Ketep is being attacked by a general of the Empire, so that's hilarious. Both armies have gone with like low-tier generals. We've got Alberic and then Boogie Board Hetep just running his pancake life off to try and escape. He's going to get a summon here, some Ushapti, and will they save him? I mean, this is a critical moment in the battle because Tomb King is so dependent on their leadership because there's so much low-tier stuff. And will the Empire player notice that their general's been surrounded? I don't think he has access to heals, right? Because he brought the Celestial Wizard. He gets fully surrounded, and Ketep on the Boogie Board escapes, and here comes Alberic. Oh my goodness, this is huge. That is a game-changing moment. So you saw the balance bar was shifting. But look at this. Ketep gives no fucks. He drops a sandstorm on his own troops just to do extra damage on the general of the Empire. I mean, it's not a good use of the Winds of Magic. You're better using it on groups of infantry, but that was funny as hell. Ketchup was just really pissed off there, and he was low on health, so he might have died anyways. General of the Empire gone. Look at how much that shifts the balance bar. So that was the decisive turning point in the game. Because look at all this troop. Look at all these troops that are running away now. Hydra's gonna get rear charged by Tomb Guard. So that's gonna deny him the use of the breath attack there. I think maybe the Dark Elf player didn't notice that it had rallied, but you got to be on top of that because if you are faster than Tomb Guard, you should be able to pull out and drop the breath attack. You don't necessarily. Ooh, did you see that tail swing? That was nice. Knocked down like 30 Tomb Guard with one swing. Only killed one unit model, but it looked cool. Over here, Knights Errant's going to finish off the skirmishers. Shades are going to be buffed by the Dreadlord with crossbow. Yeah, he does have loose, so they're going to do a little extra damage, but they're just shooting into spearmen, so not a big deal. I mean, spearmen are meant to be shot. Witch Hunter is going to be tagged by Albric, so Albric rescued his boy, Mr. Ketchup. He killed the General of the Empire, killed the Witch Hunter, and now he's got a score to settle with this Dreadlord over here. So correct me, I was wrong. I said he should have gone after this Dreadlord first. Actually, the General of the Empire was probably the best target, and I just didn't see the General of the Empire. The Dreadlord Sword and Crossbow is probably your next choice. But yeah, I mean, these shades don't have any support anymore. The Hydra should probably be backing up, and you want to use the Hydra to sort of anchor this firing arc for the shades. And then you'd have the Dreadlord sort of in the back, like kind of here. That's my opinion anyways. Because then you have the shades shooting in crossfire at this Scorpion. You have the Hydra in the middle. And yeah, but there's so little left on the field right now for the Dark Elves. The Empire stuff regroup, but it's so far away. It's not going to be helpful. Ketep is alright. He's chilling. And I think it's going to be all she wrote. Like a charge here is going to break the shades. Albert's going to do this guy dirty. Tomb Scorpion, yeah, it's just pushing up. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to fast forward because, I don't know, balance bar is still like fairly even, but like, I mean, it's over. It's over. We're going to watch one last Bretonnia charge into the backs of these shades. And pizza for you, pizza slices. All right, and that's done. GG. Fun game. All right, on to the next one. Super mobile army from Tanker with spearmen at arms to screen for days. That was fun to watch. I mean, we saw a really mobile Dark Elf army with like a basic lord. You don't see that often, and both armies interestingly opted not to go with spell. Actually, all of them opted not to go with spellcasters. Maybe there was you know what? I bet you there was an agreement before the game where the players were like, oh wait, no, Indigo had a spellcaster, but maybe there was an agreement. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say to not bring a spellcaster or not bring legendary lords, but it doesn't seem to be the case because there was one person who did that. Anyway, all right, we got a skirmish game here, I guess. So it's Tanker versus Scythian. We got trolls. We got wolf chariots. We got poison. Just a lot, and spears. Spears are here, and there's a cheap lord. So if you're playing against Tanker, guys, try and kill his lord, because he tends to go with chaff armies, and it's not easy to kill his lord. But if you can do it, you should win. If you can't, oh boy, you got a lot to deal with. If you're the Dark Elves, horde armies can be tough. You can get overrun. You probably want to bring, well, not necessarily. You might want to consider bringing Cauldron of Blood against a horde army. They can do all right if they don't get surrounded. Raven Heralds are pretty niche. They can work. They can work if they find the Night Goblin boss and there's no shooting. But there is a little bit of shooting here, so we'll see. Got Harpies up in the air. And then just a line. Just a line. Greenskins don't have access to line spells outside, but they do have some magic missiles. I mean, if they had a shaman on the side with a vindictive glare, I guess you could shoot that vindictive glare right along the line and plow 4 units of dread spears. But there's no shaman with a vindictive glare. No vindictive shamans today. There's Malkith up in the air. Some Dark Riders with Peter crossbows, and yeah. Fast forward. I don't know. It's a staring match at the beginning to see who can stare the most. Maybe someone had to go to the bathroom or something, and they were just between friends giving each other a chance to do their thing. But looks like they're getting it underway. Double Death Hag should be interesting. I mean, I don't know. They're all right with the nerf now, or sorry, with the cost reduction. I think they pay for themselves most games. They both have this copy of the Chill Blade, which is a nice spell, or sorry, a nice ability, but it doesn't stack. So I don't know if it makes sense to bring two of them with the same ability, unless you're spreading them out to get, like, you know, different zones of control. But if they're standing right next to each other, then you get no added benefit of that ability. Scythian's gonna want to try and round up a little bit. I think what's gonna happen here is he's gonna just basically get flanked. Because he's not wide, he's really tight. So he hasn't contested either flank. He hasn't fallen back to put up a defensive position, sort of in the corner. So this is happening. There was a nice charge from the chariot. Holy crap! The Goblin Wolf chariot. It's a missile chariot, but it's still like, wow. Even against Dread Spears, it did a lot of damage. That's amazing. Okay, here the Death Hag is being shot now. I can't. So there's no Cold One Riders or any sort of heavy cap to deal with that. The Dark Riders with repeated crossbows, maybe they were being used to kind of try and pin the Goblin Wolf Riders in place. That's an okay strat. That can work. But why are they balling up here? What's going on? Is that a bug? Is there something here? There's nothing here. Whoa, that was so awkward. They took a ton of missile damage from that. That was really weird. Anyway, the Raven Heralds are being used in the back line. And they're fragile, so I get wanting to keep them back. But at the same time, if you just keep them in your back line, the volume of fire is going to be an issue for you, because they'll be able to put up more shots than you. So these guys really need to find the Night Goblin War Boss and shoot the Night Goblin War Boss. And if they're not doing that, you might as well just bring a unit of Bolt Fiends or regular Dark Shards, because you get a higher volume of fire. Over here, Goblin Wolf Rider Chariot, breaking off a unit of Dread Spears. Malkith is attracting the attention of a lot of bows here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units that can shoot into Malkith, and only 1 unit of Harpies to screen. The Dread Spears are being shot, but Malkith shouldn't be frontlining this. What needs to be frontlining this is the Hydra. The Hydra can heal. Malkith, he has to use Winds of Magic every time he tries to heal. And he's much more valuable than the Hydra. The Hydra's like 1,600 gold. Malkith is probably around, I don't know, 2,800, depending on how you kit him out. Raven Heralds are being shot now. The shots are going over the Dread Spears. Death Hag also being shot. She doesn't have any armor. Savage Orc Airboys don't have the best accuracy either, so there's a lot of shots that are being missed. I mean, look at all these shots on the ground. Holy crap! But the Death Hag doesn't seem to mind. She's kind of just like, you can't hit me, and she's kind of right. I mean, they're missing. Maybe just shoot the Hydra. I don't think the Savage Orc Airboys have enough accuracy to snipe out small individual entities like that. Even a Death Hag without armor, she wasn't taking damage, surprisingly. Interesting play here. Tanker's put these guys in more of a tight formation because he doesn't have to worry too much about missile fire, and that allows him to rotate a bit more rapidly. Scythian has decided he's had enough. He's going to push out here, but he only has 2 units of Dread Spears, and the Hydra is still inactive along with the Death Hags. Okay, so maybe he heard me. The Hydra has decided not to be inactive anymore. He's probably going to come up here and try and drop some breast. Malkith has breast. They do have terror. That's a thing that could do some things. The Death Hags could probably just dive these Savage Orc Airboys, and because they're fast enough to catch them. And if the trolls come, they can fight the trolls too. But just not being used right now. So that's unfortunate. Unit of Dread Spears has regrouped here. Maybe they can come back. There's the unit of Harpies over here. They can maybe tie up the trolls. So that the oh, it's a Charybdis. I thought it was a Hydra. I was saying Hydra this whole time. It's a Charybdis. So you know what? It looks like, oh, that's cool. So Scythian's probably just running it just for fun build. Yeah, I gotta learn my own units. Like I claim to be a Dark Elf player, but it's just so rare that you see a Charybdis and you just don't expect it. But it is indeed the very rare Charybdis, and it is going to be shot. So that explains why Scythian was being more defensive with it. My apologies. Malkith over here is going to try and drop a hot breath, I think. There it goes. He roasts his own Raven Heralds. 5 Raven Heralds just died from Malkith's breath. That was a little awkward. But, you know, you got to remind them who's boss every once in a while. Over here, the skirmishers are getting into Blackguard. The Dread Spears could probably just square up again with the skirmishers and let them shoot into their shields. There's no real mobility anymore outside of the Raven Heralds, but there's just too many mobile units right now, I think, for Scythian to deal with. In fact, there's just too many units in general. Scythian went, I think, way too elite, especially against a player like Tanker, because he have 4 units of infantry on the field plus the Blackguard, so 5. And 1 unit of cavalry, and I think it's not enough to deal with all of this. And my recommendation, I mean, I don't want to tell people how to play because everyone has their own play style, and you know, maybe I'm wrong, but my recommendation would be to just go a little bit wider. It's going to be more competitive. If you bring a Death Hag, I mean, they need to duel trolls. They need. If you're gonna go elite, you gotta go hero hunting. Basically, that's what you gotta do. And if you try and fight the army with a really elite build, you're gonna lose. Balance bar is still pretty even. There's a lot of terror on the field, so you never know. You never know. There's a chariot. There's a chariot getting smashed. So nice response by Scythian. Charybdis is still pretty healthy, in spite of all of the shots that could be put up there. So, I mean, credit to Scythian for doing a decent job of being disciplined with the Charybdis, but speed's an issue here, because how are you going to catch these guys? I mean, you can catch these guys. They're gonna die. They're gonna run away, but you're gonna take shots while you're getting them, unless you screen or something else. Harpies maybe. Harpies gonna come over here. Scythian's gonna send the Harpies. I mean, I think these Blackguard need to be used on something. So what you can do is you can use the Raven Heralds to tie stuff down, and then the Blackguards to kill things. I don't know if there was a buff, like, he's got 24 unit models on the Raven Heralds now. I think it used to be much less than that. So you can afford to be a little bit more cavalier with them than before. They're still fragile as fuck, but if you pin with them and then use the Blackguard, that's the thing. That'll kill stuff. Balance bar shifting ever so slightly in favor of Tanker. It's a very close game still, but I think these Dread Spears are just having trouble connecting with things. And the Raven Heralds are really the last piece of mobility on the field outside of Malkith. If the Raven Heralds die, okay, there's Harpies too. But if those 3 pieces of mobility die, then it's going to be really hard to finish the job against these guys. Raven Heralds are out of ammo, and the Night Goblin War Boss is still at just over half health. I didn't catch what did damage to the Night Goblin War Boss, so my bad. That was probably an important fight. Maybe it was Malkith. Apologies for missing that. I don't know if Scythian has any breath attacks left on Malkith. So there we go. There was a snare, but I don't think it was snaring the right thing, because it was just Savage Orc Arrow Boys, right? And they're not that fast. So it would have been better to use the Raven Heralds to snare something that was fast, like this, like the Goblin Wolf Chariot. When you see the Goblin Wolf Chariot, send the Raven Heralds after that. Don't send them after the Arrow Boys, because you can already catch the Arrow Boys with the Death Hag and the Charybdis. They're fast enough. Over here, we got some rear charges coming into Bleak Swords. They're not braced, and they're not facing the right direction. So these guys are going to get absolutely ravaged by the Chariot, and these guys are also going to get ravaged. And I think at this point, Tanker probably senses a kill opportunity here. He goes all in. Malkith's going to get snared and tied up on Chaff, while the rest of his army gets killed. And the Night Goblin War Boss is hanging out in the back, still alive. And if you're Scythian, I think you've really got to find that Night Goblin War Boss. I know he's stealth, I know it's hard, but if you don't find him, you're probably getting overrun. Look, he's even coming to find you. He's coming to say hello. But there are trolls there. The trolls and spears are a pretty good bodyguard. And, you know, Night Goblin War Boss is not a pushover. Malkith is going to go over here, play it really tight into the Blackguard. Not a bad idea. I mean, the Death Hag, Charybdis, they can sort of death ball. Leadership is going to keep the Charybdis online if Malclef stays close. But Malclef goes away, the leadership's going to drop. He's got to keep that encourage effect near the Charybdis. If he pulls away any farther, that's going to break. Let's see. Let's see the range on this encourage effect. So if you mouse over it, you can see encourage. It's not showing. It's not showing it. I don't know, but I think from memory it's about this big. You get about that much radius. Over here, Charybdis and Malkith just smashing and bashing, but the Greenskins are ready to roll. I wonder if there's a Wog gonna proc soon. The Night Goblin War Boss is now active. We'll see. A Wog would for sure secure it. I've been impressed with the Charybdis though. The Charybdis is done better than expected. With standard ground 57 melee defense, he is affecting these trolls though. The trolls don't have the best leadership, and the Charybdis is spooky. It does have that leadership debuff, so maybe that's why Scythian decided to go with the Charybdis. So a bit of a surprise pick there, but it looks like it's paying some dividends because you've got that debuff leadership effect going on. If they break off the trolls, then Malkith is free to cycle charge here, potentially. Looks like most of the ammo is off the field. Savage Arc Arrow Boys are back up, but here comes that Wog, and that is so punishing. Malkith is low on HP. I think he's gonna struggle here. Does he have one more Soul Stealer left in the pipe? He does still have two pretty high health Death Hags. If you can pull Malkith into the safety of the Blackguard Death Hags, maybe eat that big boss. Okay, so he's found him. Scythian is going in on the Night Goblin Big Boss. Big Boss is really low. I mean, if you kill the Big Boss, you still got the spookiness of the Charybdis, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be too little, too late because Malkith has had enough. If he dies, it's GG, and I think that's what's gonna happen. So all she wrote got shattered. Very close fight. I mean, Malkith did find the War Boss at the end, but it took him a little bit long to get there, I think. I was impressed with the Charybdis though. Like against the trolls, it had a niche. I was surprised by that. The Death Hags, I mean, they did okay too, but they still had a lot of health left over, and I think they could have been more aggressive earlier on. And the other thing that really stood out for me from that fight was just the Savage Orc Arrow Boys. How inaccurate they were at shooting at an individual entity, even one without clothing. So, yeah, save the Arrow Boys, save your goblins probably for like those big targets, and then send your duelists after the small ones, I guess. That was a fun one. Well played to Tanker and Scythian. That was close. So I think we did this one. So I think I got through all of them. I got two more. Actually, these ones are featuring me. So this is from this morning, I guess. Playing against JackOfDiamonds, BigDowney, and Black Wolf and myself. So we're gonna go hard. I'm gonna do two more, and I'll call it a day after that. So what do we got here? Okay, I've got Albric on the... Okay, so just a comment here. I got Albric on this flying monster, and I've got some Pegasus Knights. And so basically, you've got a combo of the AP from the Hippogriff, and then the non-AP from the Peg Knights. And then a Paladin, but let's ignore him for now. It is possible to do the opposite arrangement. So instead of putting Albric on a Hippogriff, you can put him on a Pegasus, and then you can escort him with Hippogriff Knights. And I haven't decided in my mind which of those two approaches I prefer. I think the better way to do it is the Peg Knights and then the Albric on the Hippo rather than Albric on the Peg with the support of a Hippo. Probably works out similar in terms of cost, like points cost, but I think having more non-AP units and fewer AP units is probably the way to go. So just a thought there. I did bring a Jade Wizard to support them. My ally ended up bringing Mazdamundi. Oh, he did have Apotheosis and a Feral Dread Sauron. Saurians, whatever. And then there's some, what are these? Freckle ones on the side. We got some peasant bowmen, some battle pilgrims, foot squires. I mean, foot squires can be sneaky good in a Bretonian roster. People see Bretonnia, they're like, oh yeah, I'm bringing AP shooting, I'm bringing dread spears, I'm bringing stuff to clear chaff, and sometimes they cheap out a little bit on the AP infantry. In this case, my opponent did not. He brought some hard ground executioners. Granted, I think executioners should be they should be in the middle. I think that's my opinion. Over here, some salamander hunting pack. We're going to get into it with some dark shards. Probably not where they want to be, and these bolt throwers are going to also be shooting them. So that's an expensive unit to lose right off the bat, to just dive sort of straight into that midline. A little bit unfortunate there. Carl Franz is up in the air. And now we're going to start seeing the Hellstorm rocket battery come in. This is the ROR one, the Sunmaker, dropping some pain across the front line of Skinks, I guess. I'm going to try and push up here and support my dudes. Skinks are faster than me, so it's not like I was hanging back. I blitzkrieged as quick as I could, but the Skinks are just so fast that they got ahead of me. But I'm going to rotate some battle pilgrims over to the halberdiers, and then I'm going to probably shift some other stuff. I don't know what. Some foot squires over here to fight the executioners, and see what we can do. It is pretty tight. There's not a lot of real estate here for those ferrocole ones to get around the rock. You can see the firing arcs are extending right up to that rock, and so we are trying to get around, but it's a little tricky here. I'm being pretty patient with my backline squad. This unit, I guess, got shot earlier. I haven't been able to rally them yet, but I'll pull them back, I promise. Let's send the Grail Relic up here. Look, Mazda Money just ripping holes across this front line. Feral Dread Saurian, though. Dread Saurian? What's the guy in Lord of the Rings? Sauron. I always want to say the Feral Dread Sauron, but it's not a Feral Dread Sauron. They're not related at all. Even with regrowth, he just got shattered. Like, that's so much damage for him to deal with. With Blackguard, he had Carl Franz. Carl Franz had Gall Miraz. There was a sword and crossbow guy shooting him. So yeah, I actually used my Damsel of Life to cast that regrowth on him, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He was gone. On the other hand, we still have an Ancient Salamander. It's shooting in at Blackguard, as well as Red Crested Skinks, giving them a hard time. Lord Mazdamundi is pretty deep right now. I think he's way too deep here. Mazdamundi is not what you want to be sending to go dive repeater bolt thrower crews. You got to count the number of units that can shoot you. You got handgunners, huntsmen. So that's at least 4 units of infantry that, if they chose, could just turn and shoot you. And there's also Franz still patrolling the back line. So you gotta lead with other stuff. And he was just way too deep. On the other hand, our front line is getting wrecked here. Really dicey. The executioners just murdered everything. Skinks do okay. I mean, they'll do some damage, but a lot of the shooting is still on the field. There's less than before, but I can start using my heroes a bit more. I think I could have been maybe more aggressive in supporting Mazdamundi, maybe shadowing Franz a little bit closer, but there was so much shooting on the field that I wanted to keep my leadership alive until the late game and really pick my spots and see if I could use the terror from Albrecht to just get things off the map. So this was a little tricky here. I had some Blackguard that were very close to my Peg Knights, but I also needed to pin these Dark Riders so that they didn't snare Albrecht in the Blackguard. And it looks like I was able to pull that off. The Blackguard chased after the Salamander Hunting Pack instead of just turning around and fighting the Peg Knights, which I think was a mistake. Salamander Hunting Pack are fast enough to pull away. Foot Squires are gonna rotate there and tie up the Blackguard. Archers can back up and shoot the Blackguard, and there's poison coming in on them as well now. And so, yeah, these guys can regroup. I do have a couple of inactive units here, so some mistakes on my part, but there's a lot going on. I've got the battle programs over here, still cutting up the halberdiers, like I said earlier. Carl Franz is going to come over here, and he's going to try and break off the shooting. Looks like this Ancient Salamander is shooting into handgunners or walking into handgunner range. I think it should just be shooting Carl Franz. I mean, you've got 446 weapon damage. I don't know. I just shoot Franz, but certainly that's doing a lot of damage to handgunners. And when you shoot like across the unit like that, I mean, I don't know if I can complain about that. That did a ton of damage. Peg Knights have been able to break off the Blackguard with the Sportive Paladin. So opening up some opportunities there. I've got some peasant bowmen shooting into the blackguard. Looks like they're stuck up and inactive. Few regrouped units around the outside here, but this is the action. This is what we came to see. We've got Albrecht and Karl Franz going head to head. I noticed Karl Franz was a little bit away from the rest of his army, and I got in the charge on him. Did a lot of damage. The Ancient Salamander came over to help out, so nice play there from Black Wolf to try and support me. Unfortunately, Karl Franz does escape. Now, Albrecht does have more speed. He's got 110 speed versus, oh, I guess Foe Seeker's been popped, so he can't catch him when the Foe Seeker's up and my Foe Seeker's not up. But all else being equal, normally Albrecht is fast enough. Now, I do have to be disciplined here, and I can't chase him into all of that shooting. But I noticed the inactive unit of halberdiers. I drop a little trident across them, and that's me pretty good value. So that's going to free up real estate for Albrecht later in the game. And I'm going to get in a charge there, just a touch and go to break them with the Terror, because the Terror plus that leadership debuff is just enough to kiss them goodbye. Over here, I'm going to send the Paladin after the Dark Riders because he is a small target, individual entity, good speed, and he's also got that missile shield, that charm shield. So he's not a bad option to chase after Dark Riders. Granted, I would rather, send the Peg Knights and other things, but he's just going to annoy the crap out of them. That's what he's going to do. He's not going to kill a lot of unit models, but he'll be there. Meanwhile, Albrecht is just trying to shore up this back line. And if there's units that are kind of isolated from the shooting pockets, like the handgunners back here, then that's where Albrecht can net some value. So if the Dark Elves were disciplined and the Empire were disciplined and they just kept close to the shooting, I mean, there's really nothing we can do at this point in the game. Look at the balance bar. It's really heavily in favor of our opponents at this point in time. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to spread the field, go really wide, and hope that our opponents push like a little bit at a time into that area. And then we just want to try and like chew off chunks, like little pockets here and there, and just eat them up. And if we can do that, we have a chance. If we can't, then we lose. It's that simple. On the other hand, Karl Franz doesn't have access to heals, so that was like our one like potential route back into the game. If Karl Franz were to die, still we got a whole bunch of Empire troops, not a lot of mobility left on the field. So we had an outside shot at perhaps pulling it back. I mean, there was a light wizard, so again, have to be really careful with Albrecht. But little opportunities like this, they add up. You got like 28 Blackguard of Nagrand. You've got like a unit of Cold One Knights just being overly zealous. Like, Cold One Knights are backline cav. You don't need to dive archers. They're not worth that much. They're 400 gold. You got a unit of Cold One Knights worth like 1100 gold. Now they're gonna get pinned. Now Albrecht's gonna come over here and eat them. And you just traded like what, one charge, maybe 100 gold worth of damage on some peasant archers for like a full health unit of Cold One Knights. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Keep them in your back line and use the Cold One Knights to pin in the halberdiers. Meanwhile, push everything else up. Like you don't have to chase the archers with the cav. You can just push up with your halberdiers or your corsairs or your other things. Anyway, over here these guys are gonna get charged, and I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here because there's some nifty doodling going on. Paladin gonna fake and pull out. See a repeater bolt thrower pretty low on HP and wavering, so I didn't want Albrecht taking shots. I figured it was worth a gamble to see if I could break them off. He's going to punt 3 models, but unfortunately their leadership stabilizes here, and they're going to drop some damage on the Paladin and net him. So it's bad, but it's not the worst because he's a small target, and it's probably better into him than into Albrecht, to be perfectly honest. So a lot of damage here, but Karl Franz is going to come over here, and that's going to hurt. On the other hand, Karl Franz is probably getting shot by his own troops because of where he positioned. Maybe he should have rotated around and hit him from here. Like I think he's taking friendly fire. I wasn't even attacking him, and he lost probably like 400 hit points. Like he probably lost as much as damage he did there. Paladin's faster than him too. Albrecht's over here, so not the worst thing. Like I'm okay. And the other that he took the net. And the other thing is, now I know that this net is on cooldown. So that meant that I could be really aggressive with Albrecht because the net was gone. This has duration of a recharge of 38 seconds. So for 38 seconds, I can fight whatever I want. Again, leading with the cavalry. Don't lead with cavalry. Lead with your infantry. It's really simple, but like it matters. Use cav to countercharge and pin things in your infantry. Win the game with your infantry, in my opinion. So that's, I don't know if you're counting, but that's a unit of Cold One Knights that's been killed, a unit of Empire Knights that's broken off. They'll come back, but if they break another time, I think they're done. And they're not going to be as effective now. Here's another unit of Empire Knights. Like, what are they going after? Beast Slayers of Baston, Peg Knights, Alberic. Like, there's nothing of value here. There's nothing to... There's no good targets for them there. So why not just use your infantry? So I think a couple of mistakes have kind of let us creep back into the game here. And I can't control the flow of this battle. All I can do is really react to mistakes that my opponent makes. Here's another one. Halberdiers lining up. Another Trident of Math 1 going down. So Alberic's at 140 kills. A lot of those have been Halberdiers. Karl Franz is going to dive, but he's diving right underneath Alberic. So as soon as this net goes down, I can charge right into Karl Franz. I'm going to try and pull my damsel out. It was a risky move, maybe not a bad one. If he gets the heals off the field, I don't have any heals for Alberic. That would probably secure the game for him. Sends over the Empire Knights. Tough stuff here. I got the Beast Slayers of Baston. They're going to react and come in here. Empire Knights going to countercharge. Sorry. The Beast Slayers of Baston are going to get stuck up here with the Halberdiers, so had to make a decision here. Do I go after Karl Franz with Alberic or with the Paladin? There's a lot of shooting over here. In the end, I decided to send the Paladin after Karl Franz, and then you send Alberic, which is the larger target, after the Light Wizard, and to try and keep my Light Wizard alive. Also, potentially terror route some of these Halberdiers. Still balance bar in favor of our opponents, but if we can take Karl Franz off of the field, then terror on Halberdiers becomes a much bigger deal. And that's what happens. So over here, the Life Wizard does get broken off. There's Empire Knights over here. They're going to get stuck up in here. Alberic's just going to be a freaking boss and give it to everything. But he has his limits. And Halberdiers plus Empire Knights can... maybe he could have fought them. I don't know. But yeah, there's 2 units of Halberdiers. There's Overwatch Fire from Handgunners. Balance Bar still dead even. I'm pretty low on tricks, but the Life Caster is going to rally because there's nothing else to escort her off the field. So I have the mobility advantage now. As long as I can break off those Empire Knights, then I get to pick and choose where the battles are. I'm also chasing off this unit of Dark Riders, and the saving grace of Alberic, he's really fast. I mean, normally Dark Riders can kite these type of lords. I mean, if I had Lewin Kerr, they might have been able to kite him. 92 speed, Lewin Kerr is probably around 90 speed, maybe a bit more, I'm not sure. But Alberic, he's rocking 110 speed. And that's a lot, even for the Dark Riders to deal with. For a second there, I was like, oh crap, they're going to run back towards the safety of all their troops. But they didn't, so that was good. So here we go. Final hurrah, I guess. So Alberic, Paladin, just trying to escort some stuff off the field, and just, it's a numbers game at this point, and the less of them, the better. So this was a mistake by me. I accidentally cast Regrowth on my Damsel of Life. This was a long match. I meant to cast it on my Paladin. I was like, shit, Balance Bar was, I think, like trending pretty solidly in our favor, but I was like, oh my god, the Paladin, like, oh man, if the Paladin was healthy, I was like, okay, we got this. But then when I cast it on the Damsel, I'm like, shit, now that's going to be a ton of work for Alberic and this Paladin to do, right? Like, if Alberic gets fully surrounded, I mean, army losses could be an issue, but fortunately, again, so that's probably like the 5th time you see the cavalry get isolated from the Halberdiers. I was able to break them, and then that meant that that I didn't have to worry about getting pinned in place in the Halberdiers. I do get some... Basically, I don't know if you watch Chaos matchups and you see like the Ever Chicken sort of like dive bomb from one unit to the next. I tried to do that with Alberic, so I just tried to keep his charge animation active so that he didn't get fully surrounded. So you dive from one unit to the next. Every time he lands in, he splashes a bunch of things. He gets the terror, and yeah, so just a lot of chasing things around. And I think you can see where this is headed now. There are going to be some shots here, but the Halberdiers are kind of moving all in a blob, which enables me to sort of pick things apart one at a time. And terror, man. Terror is a thing. Finally, the Empire Knights have enough. And even though I'm out of Winds of Magic and I can't heal anymore, Alberic can finish the job. So they played a good game. I mean, we were really far down in that one. I think the Feral Soren... maybe you want to keep them on the flanks or kind of in the rear. I don't know, diving him mid, it didn't seem to work out there. That was a lot to lose at the beginning, but just my thoughts. Do I have any more? I got one more, last game. Warriors of Chaos versus Vampire Council. I'm going to cast this only because Alfair was crying for a Chaos game. We got BigDowney and JackOfDiamonds. We played a couple games with JackOfDiamonds. It was fun. It was fun. And I got Black Wolf on my team again. So we'll see how this goes. So BigDowney's gone with the unconventional, just single Dreadlord pick. Triple Bolthor and a bunch of chevrons just randomly scattered across the board. So just looking at the army select, I don't think that's a super competitive army. But you know, we're just a casual game. We're just having fun. For myself, I tried like a fairly what I thought would be good, and like I'm trying. I got Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Fire on a Manticore. I think this is the thing. It's a good option and underused. You just spit fireballs at stuff, and you use the Terror late game, and you keep them in your backline. I brought an Exalted Hero because I wanted something to deal with Tomb King Large, whether it was chariots or other things like that. And I was just going to use him to shadow whatever large things were around there. Exalted Heroes aren't the best, and I wasn't like, you know, he's not a world beater. He wasn't going to just dominate the game, but it's a small target, and he's able to pin things. I probably should have brought Foe Seeker in hindsight. I didn't do that, but, you know, we can't be perfect. Over here we got Archon the Black, rocking a pretty big kit. You got Purple Sun, Faded Buna, and Spirit Leech. I think it's too much. I think you got to bring like maybe 2 of those spells. 3 is too much. You don't have enough ones for it. Fireball gonna go in there and do some solid damage to Archon. He just sat there and ate it, so that was nice. Already I'm happy with my Chaos Sorcerer. The Bolthors are shooting at stuff. I don't know what they're shooting at. Let's find out. They are shooting at Skeleton Spearmen. Not what they want to be shooting at. These ones are shooting at, I don't know, crap. They're shooting at crap. They should be on single bolts, and they should be shooting the Cryptors probably. Or the Graveguard. Or the Chaos Warriors, but not the Skelly Spearmen. That is not what you want to be shooting. Also, way too tight here. Again, it's kind of the same mistake that we saw with the High Elf earlier. You want to spread that out, because if I get in here, I'm shutting down 6 units at the same time. That's not a recipe for success for you. Over here, I'm being patient. I'm kind of doing the tanker thing, bringing the Chaos Warhounds, an anti-large screen, and the Chaos Knights on each flank. I am splitting up my army, which means I'm only fighting like half of the Tomb King. Like I'm fighting Tomb Kings with half of my army, and I'm fighting the Dark Elves with half of my army. So it's a bit of a gamble, but I did choose to integrate in with Black Wolf, and I figured that would be okay. Over here we've got the Nahakara Horsemen. They caused me some problems early on. I did get tied up with my Chaos Warhounds and my Chaos Knights because of the Nahakara Horsemen, and these Shopti Great Bows actually did a ton of damage to my Chaos Knights with lances early on. So even though these Nahakara Horsemen died, they did a great job of screening. They bought time for the Shopti Great Bows, and they bought time for Archon. Archon's going to just pinball back and forth, do the Archon thing, do some damage here. Hyrule Titan's in here, but he's fighting against Cryptors. Not what he wants to be fighting against. He wants to be fighting against high tier like infantry, kind of like Harganeth Executioners, that kind of thing. We don't have a ton of that. I did have some Chaos Warriors. Here, this is where the Hyrule Titan should probably be. In the Black Guard, because the Black Guard can fight the Cryptors, and then the Hyrule Titan can kill all the chaff. That's how synergy works. Over here, the Exalted Hero is going to wheel around the side. I'm going to try and get this flank, and this is big, right? Because now there's no more cavalry here. So if I get into that shooting pocket, that can help me a lot. Meanwhile, I'm still spitting fireballs with this Chaos Lord on the Manticore, and just chipping away at Archon. So we're kind of trading here. Chaos Warhounds with Poison are going to stop the Ushopti with Great Bows from firing at my Manticore Lord for a little bit, which is nice. I like that. Over here, this was kind of a turning point. You see Balance Bar is dead even. At least this is, in my opinion, a turning point. But there's a gap on this side. So I think Tomb King did a pretty good job mostly of securing this side. But there's a little room for opportunity here for these Chaos Knights. They got in some charges, and we're breaking through on that side. Vamps are just doing what Vamps do. They're tying down a whole bunch of stuff and running over. Bounce bar shifting a little bit here. Over here we've got the Manticore trying to keep the leadership of the Chaos Warhounds online for a little bit so that they fight these guys. They're going to lose, but they stop them for shooting, which is big for me because the halberds are coming over. Nahakar Horsemen come over here, and they tie up the Exalted Hero, and the summon of Ushapti is also going to do a lot of damage on that Exalted Hero, so tough stuff there. On the other hand, if they're facing him, then I can get in a rear charge, and they are tying up a lot of resources from the Tomb King, so I'm still okay with it. I think he's paid for himself, and I've got the Ushapti Great Bows wrapped up again, with the Manticore here. I don't know if those Warhounds are going to stick around. I think they decided they had enough, because it's fear. They're scary, Ushapti, but at least they're not shooting, so there's that. Meanwhile, the Vargolf is plowing all of this stuff, and the infantry has taken the Dark Shards offline. Corsairs are done. Executioners and other things have been wrapped up, so the other half of my army is going to start rotating over here. I do have, I guess, an inactive unit here that I should be using, so micro mistake. But yeah, the Chosen of the Gods they're just really having a hard time finding enough real estate to continue firing. They got that really good damage off early in the game and deleted half a unit of my Chaos Knights. I should have been probably more disciplined with them, but now they're struggling. Someone here from Archon the Black. It looks like the Skeleton Warriors were maybe used to like obstruct here or something, or here. I don't know. They're not going to do much. And there's still fireballs. Don't forget the fireballs. Spicy meatballs coming in at Archon. And just he doesn't have access to heals, so I can be patient and just keep doing that, right? I mean, he should have the shooting advantage with these Shopti and Bone Giants and this and that, but if he doesn't, and I'm in range to shoot the fireballs, well, then ouch for you, I guess. How are these executioners doing? Making me proud. 133 kills. Nice job. Ooh. Do we have a purple sun? There we go. That's always fun to look at, right? On the Demon's View. That's a good cast. But it's a lot of wins. And then, is it overcast? Because that would be more wins? No, I don't think so. I think that was a regular cast. I don't know. Never seems to be worth it for me. It was okay. Solidly mediocre. Ushapti are dead. And I think you can see where this is going, so I'm going to fast forward. All that we need to see now is just the infantry kind of clean stuff up. We got the Hydro Titan, though. That's fun to watch, right? Laser eyes. Who doesn't like laser eyes? It's like cats with laser eyes and Hydro Titans with laser eyes. You got to take your pick. You can't have both, one or the other. I don't know. I think the cat with laser eyes might be more effective. It's a smaller target, and the Hydro Titan with laser eyes, he's getting the bonus versus large penalty. Cat with laser eyes, they get kibble. That's what they get. So GG's to our opponents. I'm out of replays. Okay, wait. Since it's almost done, we'll go to the score screen in case you care. How did things do? I don't know. My army was okay. There was a lot of individual entities. I mean, if you get against Tomb Kings, you just got to kill the important units. It's not really the chaff that is important. Isabel was alive, so that's good. I think the Graveguard did fantastic. Downey, he lacked mobility, and he didn't spread his units out, and he didn't bring a competitive build. He was probably a newer player. JackOfDiamonds, he played well. He played a good game. After the game, he said he was really disappointed with his Hydro Titan because it only got 35 kills, and he spent $2,000 on it. I can appreciate that, but it was fighting trolls, so it needed to be on infantry. Probably the Hydro Titan should have been mixed in with the Tomb Guard. The combo of those two could have anchored their front line very easily. I really liked JackOfDiamonds' Nehakara Horseman play. He was able to use them to screen really effectively, and the Shopti, they got pretty good value for a while, but I don't know. Just I think he needed a bit more help from Downey. But good game, very fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'm going to go commit seppuku with my throat right now after doing like 35 replays in a row. Have a have a great afternoon, evening, morning, night, and I'll catch you around. Bye.